staff next year unless they sign Sabathia. Well, Gallardo is 22 years of age. He's one of three Brewers in the starting lineup that were not even born the last time the Brewers were in the postseason.
Balls and strikes.
Boog, something I hear from hitters about Valentine is they know they don't have to protect off the plate too much in two-strike counts. And that can be a big deal in terms of your confidence and seeing some pitches in that at-bat.
The 1-1 is cut on and missed to the pitch upstairs. Left-hand hitter waits. And the 1-2 misses to even the count. Chris, do players ever change their approach in meaningful ways based on who's umpiring, or is it good to just be aware of tendencies so you're not that surprised?
I'd say the latter, because pitcher's got to pitch to his strengths regardless. The hitter's got to hit to his strengths.
Most of the starts against right-handed
you have to
pitching.
just hunt for what
Ricky
you can
Weeks.
handle. Well, he's really dialed in, and this offense is going to have to do
Jason
something.
Worth,
Maybe it's square around the bunt, step out of the box, agitate him a little bit, do something that just changes what's happening right now, because this pitch is going to be a long game, so you got to figure it out quickly.
Down the stretch in September. He has Utley batting second and Worth third.
Strike two.
He finds himself in a tough situation early. Just going to try to simplify it. Take a knock the other way.
Jason had a good year, but he cooled off a little bit in September.
And ball one.
His understanding of the strike zone is very impressive. That was a very close 0-2
There's the
fastball.
curveball from Gallardo. Giovanni Gallardo last season put up good numbers for the Brewers.
Score here in the second.
Had a record of 9-5 with a 3.67 earned run average. That was his first full season in the big leagues. That work down on strikes. 2 up, 2 down for Giovanni.
And that's that.
Here's the rest of the defense for the Brewers today behind Gallardo. They're outfield. Well, the converted infielder who did not make an error all year in left
field.
field.
Top third scoreless game. So here's the Braves designated hitter, Victor Robles.
J.J. Hardy, Ricky Weeks, and Kent Fielder. Vincent Kendall.
Strike
He's
one.
got more base stealers this year than anybody in the National League. 43% success rate, throwing out base runners, which is a vast improvement for him over this year.
I think he was sitting on
Well, that'll be a big story of this series. The Phillies, although they hit with a lot of power, they also like to run.
The next offering misses.
You take for
1-2
granted
the
2 outs
count.
is not easy to get in an inning. So that's why when you bear down with 2 outs, nobody on in the postseason, anybody that gets on is a rally. And this lineup provides it very difficult to get 3 outs, and we did that well already in the first inning. Well, he'll be on a strict pitch count. Giovanni Gallardo, a quick first inning for both starters. Very ominous looking skies up above. The Brewers and the Phillies underway. First game of the postseason here on TBS. Cole Hamels 3 up, 3 down in the first inning with a couple of strikeouts. And now Prince Fielder set to lead on.
Right field.
Fielder, J.J. Hardy, and Corey Hatch.
And there's one down.
34 home run season for Fielder. Hit 50 last year. The youngest player at 23 years of age last year to ever hit 50 in the big leagues, and he backed it up with a 34 home run season. And John, a great finish to the season. He carried the Brewer ball club in the last 2 weeks. He's awfully good when it comes to when you think you can make a pick on him in an area that he looked at, he comes right back. There doesn't look much room in there that you can sneak a ball in, and he's a dead pull hitter with a lot of power, and he is a pitcher's nightmare when you hang.
Oh,
yes.
A really nice job of finishing the hitter off right there. Glove side
Homer twice off passes
firm to the
in
outside.
the same game.
Tell you what,
Take it back to the 23rd of April. That little part,
even if you do
run
Badoo,
in the first inning.
he swings and misses for strike
Then he
one.
went 6 shutouts against the Brewers until Fielder got him to the 8th one. There was a 5-run
Swing and a miss. And the count is 0-2.
Strikes out
Spin rate's
Fielder on the
outstanding on
third
that high
contact
fastball.
in the
Really
first
tough
4
to
innings.
hit.
So he went to a spot where softly checked the catch up to any
And
side.
1-2.
Didn't let him get his arms extended. And actually, as you see the swing, watch him try to pull his hands in. He had no chance to get the barrel to the ball.
Oh, now this one is blasted to right. Forget it. Way back there, he's gone.
the full field already establishing himself so that
Third
the rest
home
of the
run of the
game,
season,
the hitters,
and they jump
hopefully
out
his
front.
side,
It's
they know what's
1-0.
coming. But
The
he's
pitcher
throwing
knew
three
as
innings
soon
so
as
far,
that
second
ball
off
left
that.
his fingertips, it was trouble. Right on a platter, right down the
Matchup
heart of
also
the
this
plate.
year,
I'm
J.J.
sorry,
Hardy,
big league hitters
also
don't
the
miss that
shortstop
pitch.
last year for the Milwaukee Brewers. 26 home runs a year ago for Hardy. He backed it up with 24 this season. And a good off-speed
Now it's a
pitch. This guy
shortstop,
is a
Ahmed
good
Rosario.
fastball hitter. If you come in on him, you better come way in. Mostly just to show, to keep him honest, and then work
And
him
the
off-speed
first pitch
pitches
misses
away
for
like
ball
this.
one.
Shea Victorino will settle underneath. They could play
Right-hander
2 up,
kicks
2 down.
deals.
5 in a row retired, and a couple of
Ripped on a
ball
line.
caps looking for their first playoff win in a
And
row.
he makes the
For the
catch,
Brewers,
and
this
that'll do it.
one,
One scores in the inning, coming on
yeah,
this
that's
solo
right. I mean,
home
I think a lot of
run.
ways,
It's now
this
a
is sort of
1-0
like
ball
last year's
game.
Phillies. The Phillies hadn't made the playoffs in 14 years.
Back
The
here in
Stores
San
hadn't made the
Diego,
postseason
set
in
for the bottom of the
2016 years.
third.
They
And
had a great young nucleus of players like
Hendon.
Chris Fielder and LeBron and J.J.
There's
Hardy.
a strike.
They hadn't been able to break through. But finally this year, when they were able to get CeCe Sabathia, when new owner Mark Attanasio was able to raise the payroll from $27 million when he
And
took
that
over
one
the team
just
4 years ago to
misses the
about $90
outside
million this
edge.
year, they got over the top. A guy like Jeff Jenkins, who played 10 years in Milwaukee, saw great players
Here's a
like Ricky
1-1.
Sampson and Carlos Lee get traded away.
And a swing and a miss there.
He did
Man, he
something else.
really sells the changeup with that arm action.
Milwaukee for the next whole season.
Next offering down in the dirt.
Down to start. Hamels.
Got him swinging on the curveball. And there's one down. Now it's the right fielder, Justin Williams.
Really love the pitch sequence right there. I'm telling you what, pitcher
Well,
catcher
rain
on the same
falls
page
here
right
in
now.
Philadelphia. We head to the bottom of the second inning. It is a parade, and it's raining on the parade right now, but still enthusiastic. Boy, wind has really picked up too. Brian the flat which starts. One out toward right field for Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard leads off. The chance of MVP raining down on him. Giovanni Gallardo 3 up, 3 down in the first.
And he deals.
And now he'll face Howard, Burrow, and Victorino.
And there's a ball.
Big numbers once again for Ryan Howard, who did not make the All-Star team, but has a chance to be the
And
most
the
valuable
right-hander
player
deals.
in the National League.
And that skips into
Three
the
straight for the Phillies. Howard won it 2 seasons ago in 06. Billy Rollins last year. And Howard with a great month in September. And carried this Philly ball.
See if he gives him anything to hit here. There's a strike.
Dale Swain said before the game that for this series, they got to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Right into the
especially
plate.
on Ryan Howard.
And there's a strike.
Pitching him like Barry Bonds and walking him, he said, we'll just try to keep it in the park and left it at that.
And a pitch. And there's
Well,
a breaking ball in that 3-2 count kind of tells you that that's the pitch he has the most confidence in right now. He just couldn't find the strike zone.
Strongly to right.
Roman Quinn in the box here. Lets that one go for a ball.
They lead off walk, something he's done quite a bit during this hot streak in September.
Next pitch is in for a strike.
I mean, that's perfect location, right on the flat. Over and over again, this guy demonstrates the ability to hit those spots. They're so tough to do anything with as a hitter.
You're not going to be super aggressive.
And now 2-2.
Here's Pat Burrow nursing a sore back. He did it on his final swing at batting practice yesterday. He's in the lineup. And it's a 6-3 double play. 2 quick outs. Just like that. So much for the nation approved. That nation come back to fight in there. It's a huge pitch to Gallardo. You know, when you face a team that has this kind of firepower, the more pressure you can create on the pitcher, the better.
Here's Garrett Harris. We talk about guys with good speed, and definitely he has it. Pushing the offensive side for just a second, Chris. It's the defensive side that I think
He
this
hasn't
speed
seen Gallardo in over a year and still hasn't learned much. In terms of seeing the ball out of his hand, seeing his breaking ball for the next time around. You've just seen one pitch, and you'll have to kind of start from scratch his next
First
start.
pitch, and he just misses.
Well,
2 out
he
for
hits
Shane
the balls
Victorino.
that get by most people at that
Well, he got career
position.
doubles this
Just
year
really
as well
impressive
with 14
because
home
there's
runs and
certain times
58
when he comes
RBIs.
off the bat, automatically
I think
that
John
team may
Daniel
hit,
talked about
thinks
before
that
the
they've got
game
a
what
base hit, or they may
he's
have extra
hoping the
bases,
Phillies
and
will
he
be
just
patient
takes it
because
away.
Gallardo, unlike Harold, is on a much firmer and stricter pitch count. Remember, this is only his second start back from knee surgery. So
The pitch.
it's unlikely he'd go more than 80, 85
Little
pitches.
out front there as he
The Phillies
swings
would
through
soon
it.
And what makes
see
him even
Gallardo hit
quicker
that
is the
ball in
fact that he's so dialed in on the pitch as he's moving through the hitting zone. He can see how that hitter's lined up, what he's trying to do, and where that pitch is going to end up, which gives him that really quick first step, and that's why he makes so many great plays.
Second walk of the inning.
2 outs.
Let's take it back to the injury.
Got him. And that will end the inning. Padres
James
lead one.
Victorino, a
They're
blue
down
shed, a
1-0.
collision. Here, Jimmy Rollins. That was on Saturday. He had to sit out Sunday. And it was a question whether Victorino
And
was going to
welcome
be
back
healthy
out
enough
of
to
the
run.
fourth.
We'll see how it
Digging in
affects his
is the
running
speedy
game. But he's still
outfielder
living around
Luis
pretty good.
Robert.
He's in the lineup, wouldn't miss it. There's not too many teams that play would happen if you don't have a great shortstop like Rollins who comes in and stays there. Most shortstops would never got out there for him.
Breaking ball through there for a strike.
It's good speed at the top of the order here. You want to get it on and see if you can get a stolen base, maybe get around the bases and pick up a run.
And now it's even up.
Victorino got good break, but
Foul
stop.
ground first
Bill
base
mentioned
side.
the success of
White racing over to make
Lisa
the
Kendall
catch.
throwing the baseball. And Pedro
Here's a
Feliz
big power
stops
threat.
with 2 outs.
Franmil Reyes.
Gallardo has a good move to first. Kendall throwing out over 40% this year, threw out only 13% of the base runners last
That
year.
one. 0-1.
Well, he's been incredibly efficient in this one. First pitch strike percentage over 70%. That's well above league average. And that's what's allowed him to pitch well up to this
He's not afraid to leave the break ball over the plate with
And
his
a base
hitters.
hit up the
He lives on that mistake. And he likes to launch that pitch
I'm sure he feels really good about that one.
You got
That
to be
pretty much
careful
splits
with
the
police
zone
when
down the
the
middle,
pitches are
and
down.
those are the ones where
Chasing
you
the
got to make a
breaking ball.
pay.
Here is Moncada.
And now the
First
veteran
offering
Kendall
is
has to
fouled
have a
out.
word with the young guy. Doesn't want to be pitching behind in the count all the time. And the biggest pitch he's made this inning, of course, that one pitch double play hit into by Burrow. That did him a big favor there.
Rocketed out towards right
It's
center.
just wind and sometimes,
trouble here.
the
Gets it
rain
away
still
from
kind
the
of you're trying to
And
concentrate
there's
for
two
a
away.
It'll help his curveball, might get his
And
fastball
here
on schedule a
is
little
C.J.
bit.
Cron.
But the wind is howling, and he's going to have to get through this inning and sit down and be focused. Pedro Feliz at the plate, 2-0 with 2 outs, and Gallardo
Sliced hard but foul.
gets back into the count. One of the things Gallardo can do very well, because he has the 3 pitches he can throw for strikes. He commands the fastball well, but he can get back into a count once he falls behind with not only his fastball, but his curveball and his
And that's a
changeup.
fair ball. Digging it out of the corner. Relay throw to second.
Well,
But he's
right
in
at
there
Hardy.
easily.
And Hardy takes it the easy way. So Gallardo walks it there.
Got a
A
fastball
score
in
to
the middle of the
second.
plate,
We head
jumps
to the
all over
third
it,
from a rainy
absolutely
day.
smoked that ball.
And now here is Chaz Chisholm.
He's so good about trying to drive the ball to the opposite field gap in these situations. If he takes that approach, he could bust this game wide open.
And here it comes. Puts it in the air out towards left center.
That both starting pitchers off to a good start here this afternoon.
He's
Cole
got
Smalls
it.
has
And
retired
that is out number 3. 2 left for
with
Atlanta. They lead it 1-0.
set the pace of bottom here. They have with the leads off. And they followed by J.C. Kendall and the pitcher Giovanni Gallardo.
Welcome back, John Shabby and Chris Singleton with you. And leading off the bottom of the fourth, David Fletcher.
The shortstop, David Fletcher.
For those of you watching at home, you may not understand what makes him so tough to hit. He throws his fastball with command, but his changeup comes right on the same slot, and it drops away from the hitter. The hitter thinks the fastball is down, and then all of a sudden,
First offering is fouled
like
off.
that pitch
He
right
needs to
there.
get
If you look,
1,
that
2,
pitch is
3
pulling away
this
from
time
right
around.
now. His
Last
numbers
inning,
against
threw a
right-handers
lot
are
of
really good.
pitches.
His mechanics
Comes
stay
up
the
empty
same
on
on
the
pitches.
swing, 0-2
This
now.
one gives the hitter the impression that, well, here comes a heater. Even though he took that right there, that pitch has been a really good pitch for him all game. Well, Hamels He grew up in the San Diego area. He grew up watching
And the pitch.
one of the great changeup artists of all time.
Now
The
one
great
away.
closer of the San Diego
Well, this
Padres,
is the
Trevor
best
Hoffman.
two-strike fastball I've seen, but
Especially in
certainly got away
situations
with
like
the
this,
evasion there. You know,
less is more.
as a hitter, when you're
Usually
getting that
works
count,
for a
you're so
pitcher's
focused
advantage.
on a pitcher
Once again,
hitting the
that's up. The
black, and
changeup
you just
is
get a little bit
red
worked up,
hot
throw
right
something
next
down
door.
the heart of the
Hamilton's
plate, not
fourth
expecting it,
strikeout.
and it just kind of
Up on the
freezes you.
weather, Dave Dubuque
In the box,
will
looks
be
one
watching the rain
away
on
as he takes
closely with
ball
the
one.
ground crew. Here's what he had to say a moment ago in an interchange between the two.
The wind of the pitch.
Hey, to go either way,
And
just
another
like that.
ball.
Like
He's
this.
clearly trying to work him away here. Both pitches off the plate.
All
If
right,
you
well, let's give
really
it a
want to
shot.
put the ball
I
in
mean,
play,
if
you
it
have
could
to
be
swing
either way,
big
I'll
and
stay with it.
drive it to the opposite field.
Next offering misses. And now 3-0.
Wisely so. It is sprinkling and a little damp and windy, but yeah.
There's your strike at the knees.
Well, we hit the air today. It was 70 degrees when the game started. Then the front moves in. It's dropped.
Good plate
It
appearance
is
there.
15 degrees
Able
right
to
now.
take the walk.
Well, he tried to nibble right there and just missed his spot. Hitter didn't offer at it. And now there's somebody to worry about for first.
Wisdom's in now. Takes ball one off the plate.
The numbers bear that out.
Kirk stands at first with
The
a
left-handers actually hit Cole Hamels better. And maybe it's a little bit of the Tom Glavine thing with his changeup, in that you can't feature all of these pitches to left-handers like you can right-handers. And that's correct. Typically, you don't want a pitch going in, down and into a left-hander where they get that sweet spot. Jason Kendall in the right center. And it'll be Victorino out number 2 with
Kicks and
8 strings
fires.
retired by him. And to speak to that point, nowadays
Well,
it's
he
so
looks more
difficult
focused at the
to
plate
go
and
away
working
from
the
it.
count after
Even though
that
the
first at-bat
statistics show that you
strikeout.
should probably put more left-handers in. It
At
just
the
has
belt, the fires.
more questions to answer if you're a manager.
This
Why
one
does, the
popped up.
right-left combination, the specialized game that
in
we've gotten to.
position.
And typically, this
Calls it in
type of
for the
pitcher
out.
is allowed to feast off the aggressiveness of the hitter. They're not going to take them the other way. It looks like the more often hitters
Next to hit, Josh Van Andel.
Cole Hamels, which plays right into his game because he's going to pull the string on you. And I look
In
for later
there
in the
for
game,
strike one.
more effective
Pitching
with
well,
fastball
but not throwing a ton of first pitch
the
strikes.
lone lefty of the Brewer
Usually
lineup.
doesn't
The
work
guy
out
who's
for
had the most
success,
success is
but
Gallardo.
can be
Launches one to
project-based
left field. The wind pushing it
Left-hand
down,
hitter
and
waits.
that ball makes a catch.
And now 2 balls and a strike.
About 20 minutes ago. Instead, it's a long line
pitch.
out. Still scoreless.
Fouls one off. 2-2. And the pitch.
National League Division Series coverage on
Swing
TBS.
and a miss.
Dennis
Coming out.
Blackberry.
And that is that.
I think the key.
Scoreless as we head to the
We
bottom
go
of
to
the
the
third
top of
inning.
the fifth. And now,
In
Victor
the
Robles.
rainy conditions, the rain
Wind of
started
the pitch.
for the moment. It's Carlos Ruiz set to
And
lead
first
off for
offering
the
is down
Philadelphia
off.
Phillies. Ruiz, the Philly catcher. And then Cole
Righty
Hamels, and then back to the
delivers.
top of the order. Hamels has retired 9 straight Brewers.
up the
Meanwhile,
middle of the
Gallardo
base hit.
pitched around 2
So
walks
report to
in
start
the
the
second
inning.
inning. And a big double play ball
Well,
from
a swing like that
Sperling.
can help you come out of the struggle. We saw the numbers coming
Gallardo
into
with
the
25
ballgame.
pitches through the first
But
2
all he's
innings.
trying to do at this point is help his team win.
James McCann in now. Well, this ball is
He made
crushed
just
into
one
left
start
field.
since
It's
May
on its
1st. That
way.
was
Gone.
against the Pirates on the 25th of September
A
last
big
week. And
Odell
Joe
Hall
went
fan,
67
and they
pitches, and
add
that
to the
was a
lead.
great
It's
start. I think that
3-0.
was what led
One pitch, one
Dale
swing,
Swain and
one
Doug Melvin to
home
say that
run.
we think we
Yeah,
can
you
end
can
it
say that's
today's
efficiency
action.
right there. Didn't need much
Swing
time
said
in the
he's got
box
a
to
lot
make
in
an
his
impact.
heart. He's done
Now
practical.
the left fielder, Akil Badu.
Well, it's certainly a bold move, but I don't think it's like going out on a limb. I mean, they
There's
were
a swing and a
presented with
drive.
various options
That
and
one's got a
limitations. He
chance.
could give 5 innings, but he's going to do the Milwaukee Brewers.
He sends it out of here, and they head to their lead. It's 4-0.
Back-to-back
of the
jacks,
ballgame
and this club
from the
is
Philly
fired up
catcher,
right now.
into the 8th spot.
This is the
And Philadelphia with a man on with a pitcher coming up. This guy is a dead red fastball hitter, but he hits a hanging breaking ball here that stayed out over the plate for him. So he was able to pick out a mistake and make the best of it.
kind of thing where you really start to notice hitters in a lineup
That was a
feeding
good
off
hitting
each other,
pitcher,
and their
but probably
collective
asked the
offense
fun here.
just
He's got 8
continues to
stops
grow.
licenses.
Rosario up for the third time here.
And
Watches
this is
that
where
one
Gallardo
miss.
would be tested. The ball goes right to Hall. Might have had a chance at 2, and now Weeks drops the baseball.
The wind of the
The
pitch.
Brewers defense faltering here in the third inning instead
In
of
the air, right
two.
field.
At
Williams
least one.
sizing this
They get
one
nobody.
up. Makes the grab. And there's the one away. Now in for the Braves,
Two
Luis
mistakes on the
Robert,
play,
a guy who makes an impact
and
not
then it
just
looked
on
like
the
he was
plate,
going to
but
go
also
play
on the
second
field.
base and bobbled the ball. Got a slow runner.
And that's in there for strike one.
To second base.
Still only one out here in the inning.
I think he threw him a little change up. The ball might have cut right at the end. He didn't put much on it.
The next pitch misses, and the count is 1-1.
The error will belong to Ricky Weeks, a costly error, and now Gallardo with two on behind him, and nobody else at the top of the order coming up.
Swing, a high fly ball down the right field line.
Gallardo, Brian, in that he was not
And it's
tested
a
in that start
one-hopper
against
off
the
the
Pirates.
wall.
Nobody
Should be
tried to
extra
bunt on him.
bases.
Nobody
And that's
made
a
him have to
double.
cover
Well,
first
here we
base.
are, third time through the order, and this is where we see the OPS jump up. Manager might have to go to the bullpen a little bit sooner than he anticipated.
Out of the bullpen for the Padres, Forrest Whitley. He'll try to strand the runner at second.
At this point of the ball game, we're talking about mid-innings, and we need a little length out of this arm coming out of the bullpen. We'll see just how many outs he's able to give his skipper.
Against the Chicago Cubs on May 1st, and it's just one of those plays down, a little indecision between the fielder and Gallardo.
Movement in the bullpen, Teddy Reese getting used for A.J. Hinch.
It's called the no communication problem. Unfortunately, right there, he got the worst end of it, and just being that in-between play.
That one missing inside.
This hitter's been seeing good velocity in the at-bat. He's kind of set up for that changeup. He hasn't seen it yet.
Got the heart of a
Looks just
lion.
like a fastball out of the hand.
Gallardo
Smash to the left side. Base hit. That is smoke through the
they went back
infield.
out and finished an entire sixth.
Throw home. He beats it.
Going back
And
to
the
that
lead
bounce
is
gap,
up
it
to
makes Jimmy
5.
Ryan so tough at the 50. You don't know if he's
Moncada with a chance to hit.
And got away with the pitch there. I'm pretty sure he probably thought he was fine. And he got away with the pitch.
And he swings and misses at the initial offer.
You watch the inning unfold.
Right-handed reliever. Now a drag bunt, third base side.
Well, you wouldn't expect
And
him
he
to get a
picks it
double
up
play.
off foul
That's what Jason
territory.
worked. He's hit into 2 double plays in 2 years. And so far for Philadelphia offensively, it's been
And the 0-2.
one pitch at bat.
In the air, left field. Pender gliding back. And there are 2 outs.
And Rollins popping up on the first pitch to get out number 1.
C.J. Cron next up for the Braves.
CJ.
He's going to make you pay if he's in that situation again. That's what made him the MVP last year.
First offering misses the mark.
Way to lay off that fastball bomb right there. You're looking for something you see well that you can handle, but you also have to keep the distance so that you're not popping up pitches that are just a little too high.
And that one is lifted in the air.
Looking out on a high
Makes
fastball.
the catch and over.
Up around the eyes,
ball was
over stress and he chases. And it's
We
2
head to the
balls.
bottom of
He
the
chased
fifth.
his last time up. This one well out of the
Pitch.
zone. And get on top of it.
Swing and a miss. And that's strike
He was right by him, too. It worked in the first inning. It works again in the third.
Swings through that.
Hitters who face a pitcher with a big over-the-top
The 0-2.
curveball are more susceptible to a high fastball because that ball is
Right
stuck in that
there.
area. And they want to get on top of his fastball. They don't want to have to hit his curveball. And he's getting away with it temporarily right now. I don't think that's going to be a recipe for success as he moves up forward. Not if he hangs that breaking ball a lot. And this is where, not having been in enough of these situations.
Swing and a miss. And he struck him out. And that's the first out in the bottom of the fifth. So digging in, Chad Pender. 0 for
This
1.
goes
He
into
struck
play
out
when you're in this
60 last
situation in a hospital environment. Off-speed pitch there, and
First pitch.
I like what he said when asked about the start today, and he said, I want to give my team a chance to win.
Want your pitcher
What
to
he
come out
always
and
goes
just
out there to
zone
do.
him down. The offense has worked hard
And
and
place
shut
any more
down
importance on
anytime.
this than he has any other start in his career, although
Next
everybody knows
offering
how
is
to
in
do.
for a strike.
Pretty
But I
rare
bet you he's going to
location
pitch
right
more
there,
like a
right down
reliever
the
than
middle.
he is
This
a
guy
starter
paints
because
these
he hit it at the
edges.
unknown.
Not
So
sure if
the
you're going to see
pitch
that
to
pitch
him is
again
irrelevant.
today.
Rosario gloves it over to first. Home man for the 5th inning, moving along. 2
It's
quick
early,
outs.
Well, he's doing
This
a nice
is a
job
key
of keeping the
for the
ball
Phillies.
out of the air.
Last
Lets
year,
the
the
defense work
Rockies
behind him with another ground
came into town
Good
for
execution.
the first round, and they swept Philadelphia.
Williams
And
at
it
the
was
plate
a
now.
lack
That's
of
ball
success
one.
from some of the key hitters, guys like Utley, guys like Rollins and Ryan Howard. Game one especially, that first game so important, as John's been saying. And those guys had a horrible day. 2 balls and a strike with Howard on deck. And Utley lines one, that is slicing foul.
And the one
Here's a taste of what happened last year in Game 1 against Jeff Francis. Rollins 0 for 3. Utley struck out 4 times. Howard struck out 3 out of 4 times. And you can see an 0 for 11 day
rolled softly,
in
but
Game
that
1
goes
with 8
foul.
punch-outs. And those are the guys they rely on the
Left-hand
most.
batter waits. And he
Rollins
flips a
threw out
breaking
with
ball
2
in
on
there.
and nobody
Or a
out. And other than
changeup.
struck out Jason
Either
Ward to
one.
get the
Something
2
off
out.
speed.
Pretty
Good
sure
arm action
Kendall
on
right
it.
now, the
Whatever
approach
it
is,
was.
even though the bases aren't loaded, you're
And
pitching to
counted
this
on
guy with the
strikes he
bases are loaded. You
goes.
don't want the
3 up,
next guy to
3
get
down,
up
inning over.
with the bases loaded or a run in. So these
Back
next
here at
2
Petco
pitches
Park.
are going to be
All
very
set for the
important
top of the
pitches for this
6th.
inning.
So now to the plate for
Look for him to
Atlanta,
try and get
Jazz
his
Chisholm.
chase something.
Jazz.
Because he
Whitman
has that
back to
downward
work.
swing on that curveball that he loves. It's either
And
low or
that's
low
outside.
to get him out of this situation.
A 1-0.
Strong line center field. Cameron broke in, now back, and he's
Foul ball.
2 runs will score for the Phillies. Ruiz and Harold. You can see right there where Cameron was sitting up high to
And
get
the
him out
count
over the
1-2.
swing. Right down the middle. And pretty much Cameron gets everything, but this ball is tattooed. See where
Why
the
to
side,
keep the pitch.
and this ball is right down the middle of the structure.
And a swing and a miss. Down on strikes. And one gone.
Well, that's always the key to effective pitching is
These
getting
things
ahead of the
let him
count.
down
And
here.
as a pitcher, it really allows you to start expanding the zone. Guys become defensive, and all of a sudden, for the hitter, that ball starts to get really wide. What happens is, because of pressure, you end up committing to a pitch as a batter before you recognize what it is, and that's what leads to the strikeout.
And it's 1-1.
They said the hitters have it more gap following. Well, the double by Utley drives in a pair and also opens up a base at first, and the Brewers will walk Ryan Howard. Mike Cameron has won 3 Gold Gloves in his major league career, and it's the unusual circumstances. He was in a roundabout route to even make a play on that ball. I think for most guys, it clears them easily because of the attack he took. But because Mike is so good, he
here
didn't
is
let it on
James
it.
McCann. He's already homered in this
Took a
game.
sharp angle and never really had to try to recover.
First pitch doesn't find the zone. And the righty
Howard
deities.
draws the walk, and here comes Pat Burrell and David Aldridge.
Out of the zone,
It's
and
getting
the ball
questioned
strike.
whether Burrell is going to be able to play today.
That's right, Brian. Charlie Manuel told us that Burrow got here at 8 o'clock this morning, did some running and stretching, and, took some BP this morning to see if he could go, and he couldn't.
That is
And
strike 2.
Johnson, the team's hitting coach, told me he thought the injury might be a blessing in disguise because he thinks it might slow Burrow's swing down. It'd be nice for the Phillies if he take a pitch or two first, right?
Exactly. I think he'll be skiing in on a pitch where he's up there trying to ambush the pitcher. It didn't work. Hit into a double play.
And a foul ball, he stays alive.
And he'll look for a pitch
A
to
little
go
bit
back.
with that front
And look
shoulder, he was able to
stride.
slow his
Let
back
the
down
ball out of
just enough to
racetrack.
make contact
And
with
his
that
arm.
pitch. Keep the at-bat alive.
Swing and a miss. Struck him
And
out.
we'll see if
The
the
big
cooler
right
weather
strike
here, the
out.
temperature drops significantly
Bottom of the 6th.
from the first
Roman
pitch.
Quinn
And,
up here
Burrow
near
has gone to the thick sweatshirt. The cooler weather has an effect on his back. That's a good point, Brian.
It really looks like these hitters have been in between with their timing today.
Charlie
Good
Manuel was
fastball,
talking about
excellent
his swing
slider,
too.
but they've
And that's
not
what
been
Rafael
able to
Thompson said. He
commit to
said,
one
I'm hoping he
velocity and
slows it
stay
down
there.
so he's not so quick to jump out there and try to get
and a
pitch.
pitch. Swings through that one. It's a
Pat Burrell will
strikeout.
be a free
One
agent
gone here.
at the end of the season, 32 years of age.
You got the
His
change
entire
up
career
there.
here in Philadelphia.
You rarely see that. It almost makes you
A former
think
first rounder out of
he was
Miami
just a
back in
savage pitcher.
98.
I mean, if you can't catch up to the
We
off-speed
sent that
stuff,
right here.
there's no way you're
There's
going
that
to get your
imager
fastball.
away from the plate, trying to get him again to chase to his pitch.
And he's down 0-2 as he swings through it. 0-2 now.
Fastball and Burrow lays off.
In the air, right
He got off to a
side.
great
And no
start.
one can get to
Well,
it.
an
It's a
MVP
foul
type
ball.
stuff did Pat Burrow, but really cooled off.
Right-hander
See,
kick steals.
with the work he did,
And he chases
Four
that
home runs in
one.
April.
That's out
August
number
and
2.
September.
Back-to-back strikeouts to start the frame, and that's now 3 in a row.
Yeah, he's really set.
The Phillies with 2 runs in. Chase Tucker with a double. And he still approached this pitch, even though it's 3-2, as an aggressive pitch for the pitcher, because he's an aggressive hitter. He can throw a breaking ball and mark
David
it for
Fletcher stands in with 2 away as he takes a ball.
Runners take off, and the pitch fouled away.
Next offering is down low.
Struggled a little bit this
Burks
one.
with
A
8
couple of
home runs,
strikeouts
24 over
earlier,
the
but
average.
doing a much better
And the
job
month of
of this
April.
at bat to get ahead
Finished the
and
season
find
with
good
33
hitters
inch
count
balls
to
this year.
Next
And
offering is
86
fouled
driven
out.
in. I just think with
2
a
down,
stiff
nobody
lower
on.
back, his hands are
In
going to
the
be a
air to
little more.
left center.
They're going to be
Badoon under
quicker
this
to
one.
his middle of the plate in than anything away.
That ends
So
the
he's
inning.
quicker to reach the ball
Nothing
today.
doing there for the Friars. So the Padres with a new arm in the mound, Teddy Reese. And we'll see how he performs in this situation with his team down big. And now here's his speed threat, outfielder Akil Badoon. And the way he's going in this one, really been waiting for his spot to come around again.
Listen, everyone, stop what you're doing right now. This guy's got 2 home runs already. Now he's going for number 3.
This ball bit hard,
Pitch.
and he just was lucky enough to keep his hands back.
Strike
So that he
2.
just hit the barrel of
Bullpen
that
action
across
for the
home plate.
Padres.
Straight at bat.
Eagler getting
Once
his
he got
range
back to the
hitch.
set for the
Big
postseason,
warming up as
after his
well.
first at bat being
Swings
over-aggressive,
through
he
that,
seemed
and
to
it's a
slow it down.
strikeout. 1
He was
down.
going to walk. Now
Came
he's
out of
got
his
to slow
mechanics
down.
there. Typically likes to shoot the ball the
Mike
other
Maddox,
way.
one-time
That
Philly.
time, a little anxious.
Brewers pitching coach.
Rosario.
If for nothing else,
Hard
he could
hit
get
left
Ball
side.
down and
Sneaking through base hit. So they get a man
Victorino,
aboard
the
with a
bases
1-out
loaded this year,
single.
4 for 9.
All over
Left the
that
ball
one right
left-handed,
there.
left it
Everyone's
down
trying to
and
elevate
in.
the ball in today's
Great
game,
and
but
well
if you can hit a
pitches.
ball
And
that
yeah,
hard on the
that's
ground,
your
it's
right
going to
center.
find some holes.
And
Better
now
left
Luis
to the
Robert.
right-hander.
Rosario runs.
Inning started with a single by Ruiz. Cole Hamels trying to bunt the runner over. There was an error. Sack bunt for Hamels, but an error that allowed him to first. And then Gallardo with 2 outs
first,
had a
1
chance
gone.
to get out of the inning before Utley doubled in both runs. On the line drive that was in and out of the glove.
Next pitch just misses. Ball one.
With the bases loaded. As a pitcher, and even though he hasn't had a lot of experience this year out of these situations, you can't let this inning get away. The
Sometimes
bullpen's
you got to
starting to
fight
get
to
ready
get
for
back
Milwaukee,
into an
but he's
at-bat.
1 pitch
Take
away
some
from keeping
tough
his ball
pitches,
club in the
even out
game.
the count.
And the pitch.
Hitters count for Victorino.
That one lifted to left. Pinder moving under this
This
one.
morning, the GM for the Brewers said before the game, it's not so much a number on a pitch count that
Just
they're
roll off of it a
concerned
little
about.
bit
It's
right there.
struggling within an
Pressure
inning.
coming open instead of staying closed.
Inside
If
an
he
inning.
does
And
that,
this
he's going to be able to go up the
32
middle the
pitches
other way with
already,
authority
and
instead
that's
of
what they
a
were
fly out to
concerned the
left.
most about.
And first offering is fouled off.
Able to check his swing. Fielding Colbrick with palms down. And now Gallardo swings at a pickle here. 3 balls and 1 strike. And what happens is, the reason they're not coming out of their shoes swinging at that curveball now is because the command of his fastball was not good enough to warrant that pitch being in the strike zone. Those are really good curveballs that these hitters are leading off this inning because of the command of his fastball being just a little bit off. Big catch here to third.
Next pitch is downstairs.
Victorino, bases loaded walk for the Phillies. Take a 3-0 lead here in the third inning.
2 outs.
Giovanni
Stays
Gallardo
low.
only walked 8 batters in his 24 innings this year. That's right, he just done this. He has not pitched much, only 24 innings. And he's walked 5 in 3 innings today. One of those is
3-2, 2-out runner
Gallardo
on first.
making
Just a lot of movement in the
his
infield. Hitters got to
22nd
stay
career
steady.
major league start
Checking
here
the
this
runner.
afternoon. The 9th man to bat in the inning, Pedro Feliz, with bases loaded and 2 outs.
The pitch.
And unlike the 2-3 goals, Feliz
And that
a
is
big
that.
play to make with that
One
first
left for
ball.
Atlanta as they are unable.
Gallardo next to
Stepping
form, sets
in.
his raise.
For San Diego, Alejandro Kirk.
The catcher.
Milwaukee had to send CC Sabathia to the mound in the final day of the regular season on Sunday.
He helped them get to the postseason. The Phillies clinched the division on Saturday. That allowed Charlie Manuel to bump Cole Hamels back. The back end will be back on the mound tomorrow.
0-1.
Well, that's really the money spot. Down and away, if you can locate that consistently, it's going to be real tough for guys to square that up. That's what you love to see relievers do coming out of that bullpen.
For Gallardo, the Phillies strike for 3. Utley, the big hit. Well, the Phillies have a 3-0 lead over the Brewers. Yeah, the first game of the best-of-5 division series. Phillies bring 9 men to the plate. The Brewers commit a costly error. 3-run score, the big hit, Chase Utley, a 2-out, 2 RBI double. And now Cole Hamels.
And the right-hander
The
deals.
first 9 Brewers worked with a 3-run lead here in the fourth inning.
The throw. And the leadoff hitter set down into the 7th.
Here.
The next up for the
Chase Utley with
Padres.
Dick Sheridan for number 1. That's Kevin around. Had a chance to visit with Rich Doobie, the fine pitching coach of the Philadelphia Phillies. We asked him what he's seen from Cole Hamels early in this game. Well, so far, he's been able to control his motions and maintain a quality delivery, and of course, he's got that good changeup going. Rich is still, and I'm just curious what Cole learned from last year's experience in the
Fires over the
postseason.
first.
He's learning all the way
2-2
along during the course of this season, too. He's just got to keep himself
Next
out
is the
of
designated hitter,
and
Josh Van
he's such a
Eden.
perfectionist. Sometimes he gets a little excited and wants to do a little more than he needs to do. And Rich, it's John Stoltz. I'm impressed by his innings that he's amassed this year. Are you concerned at all as he goes into this game based on the score, how many innings he's going to pitch, or is this just going to be like another regular season start? This will just be a regular season start. He's had some extra rest, and he's done a real good job of maintaining his body this year and taking care of himself. And
Knows that his
it's been a
players are
solid
just
program
trying to
that's
do
helped
too
him keep his
much.
strength
Everybody
and
needs
keep
to
his
just
arms
take a
going.
deep breath,
Really
relax,
thanks for your
and let it
insight.
naturally
Thanks,
happen.
guys. I think that for Cole Hamels to go to the next level, which he's already doing, that's the biggest part I see this year. The 42-inning jump, the way he maintains his body during the year, his workouts, this is going to take him to the elite status of pitching.
0-2 now.
Swing
and a miss, and he is down on strikes for the third inning.
Let me ask you,
You
John,
want him
he's had a
out of the
week
bullpen? Phil
rest. Last
Bickford.
time he
He's
pitched
been
was
so
last
good against
Tuesday
lefties.
against Atlanta, and he got
Here's the
beat.
third
This
baseman,
got to be a
Yoan
postseason
Moncada,
start like
for the
this.
fourth time
Did you
tonight.
have welcomed a full week off?
Well
Yeah, there's
struck
times
right
when
field.
he's making this kind of jump, there
And
is
it's
a
off the wall.
psychological advantage to having the rest. The physical speaks for itself,
And
but then
that's a
there's the
leadoff
anxiousness,
double.
and I think last year calmed him
Backspin on
down,
that
so the
instead of
week
the
is not going to be a big deal. He wanted to come out here and command every pitch that he has. He's done that. He's composed, and he's
Next up for the
done what
Braves.
this Philly team needed him to do. Get a lead, put Milwaukee zeros on the board, get a lead, and pitch off of that. And he's done that magically this year. And even in his bad games this year, as we watched him, he never seemed to get rattled. And that's what's going to help him as he really, he wants to pitch 30 innings this year. That's what's going to take. Ryan Braun off the trademark. Have an easy play for Pat Burrow. Cole Hamels in the spotlight.
Kicks and fires. Swung on, belted. Way back there. And out of here.
The Phillies running pros been looking at the weather forecast.
Swing right there on that breaking ball away. Did an incredible job of keeping the hands back, letting it travel. He just hammered it, recognized that break, and this guy kept his front foot down the right now. Transference for the exact time. Excellent backspin to carry it over the fence.
David,
In the air, pretty deep out to center field.
Conditions changed quite a bit from the
Brings
early
it
parts of
in,
this
and
game.
there's one down.
Now, we hit the fourth inning. The Phillies start the fourth just like
And
they
now
started the
it's
third
Victor
with Carlos
Robles
Ruiz
up
at
to
the
hit.
plate.
Victor.
A 3-run Philadelphia third inning. And Ruiz
First
crossed
pitch,
to the
not
end.
close.
We're going here in the fourth. Between innings, we had a chance to visit with Brewers manager Dale Swain. And we talked to Dale Swain about being down now 3-0 against Cole Hamels.
Yeah, obviously, you got to be patient, get some good pitches to hit, and we got to get some base runners right now. Obviously, Hamels' changeup is very You got one heck of a power
The
changeup
fastball's
working
in.
right
Now
now. So,
passes
that's why he's one of the best in the league.
Probably going
Dale,
away,
the
but
conditions
looking
on
to
the
come back
field
in there and
changed
try to finish you
drastically
off.
from the beginning
The count's
to last
2-1.
inning, and certainly it had an effect on Mike Cameron, the flight of the ball from Utley.
Are there some adjustments you guys have got to make there? Well, obviously, the wind was blowing really hard right there. A little tough to judge the ball.
That's inside.
Actually, probably was in our favor. That probably knocked that ball down a little bit. Utley hit the front out of that ball. Yeah, this is John. Mike went out. It seemed like so far so good with your pitcher. He's just up a little bit
Righty
by zone,
delivers.
and maybe if he gets
The
his fastball
3-2
down, he can give you a
is
couple
off the
more
outside
innings. Is
edge,
that what
and
you're
that
looking
is
for? Just
ball
a couple
4.
more innings?
Boog, do you think you can
Obviously,
throw a
right
walk in
now
the
we
big
need
leagues? We
to
gave you another
81
one.
pitches left,
Ooh, that's a
and
good
we just
question.
going to give us a couple more solid
I
innings
think
and
they made the
get out of
pitcher
there.
a false scouting report on
Dale
defense.
Swain, thanks a lot.
I could throw
Okay,
a
guys.
ball. McCann batting him one
Brewers
down.
general manager
Takes
Dale
a strike.
Swain on Giovanni Gallardo. He aired last inning for the Milwaukee Brewers. As
The
Gallardo
pitch
comes
misses
right
way outside.
2 quick outs. Ruiz and Hamels
Robles leads
gone in
off
order here in
first
the
with
fourth.
1 away.
A lot of pressure, I'm sure, on Dale Swain. He's a cool
Next
customer.
pitch
He
finds
doesn't really
Eason for a strike.
get all that up or all that down.
Level-headed guy. But when you come in to take over a ball club, it's just 12 games to go, and you're expected to be the guy to
Meanwhile,
get
this
them over
pitch
the
gets
hump.
away. No advance. Good job behind the
That's
dish.
never been done in the history of baseball for a contending team that late. And it was a series here in Philadelphia that led to the
Out
dismissal
towards
of
left
Mo
center.
Ghost. It was
Pinder
a 4-game
settles
sweep at
underneath
the
it.
hands of the Phillies. The Brewers
Puts the
came into that
squeeze on that
series on the
one.
11th
2 down.
of September with a 4-game lead in the wild card. They
And
led
stepping in
for the
is
wild
the
card.
speedy Akil Baddoo.
That Yost was let go. Dale Swain takes over. He brings on Robin Yount
In
as his
there
bench
is
coach.
0-1.
And Doug Melvin, the Brewers general manager, said he wanted to send a shockwave to his ball club, and that's about as big of a shock as you could have ever imagined. I think everybody was caught by surprise with that move. That shockwaves through baseball. I know that they'd just come off a very good August. They were 20-7 in the month of August. There's the GM for the Brewers, Doug Melvin.
And he did.
And they've gotten off to a slow start.
Yeah, that's downstairs there on the side.
September, but man, with 12 games to go to make a change like that is a big risk. Milwaukee won 6 of their last 7 games.
Yeah, the pitch is in for a strike.
To earn that wild card berth, their first postseason appearance since 1982. Dale Swain, a former Brewer player,
High fly
part of that
ball right
legendary
field.
team in 87 called
Under
the
it.
Team Streak. Team that started the
And that's
season
the third
13-0.
out.
Playing shortstop.
Braves pick up 2 on the long ball. It's now 7-0.
Timmy Rollins stands right on top of the plate. He invites you to throw in
Back here in
fastballs.
San
He
Diego,
wants
on to the
to
bottom of the
try to
8th. So
knock
digging
him
in
off the
now
plate a
for
little
San
bit.
Diego, Evan White.
And as you just saw there on a 3-1 count, doesn't matter how high and tight it is, he's going to count on it. Rollins is 0 for 2, a ground out and a pop-up.
And the pitch.
2 outs for Gallardo here in the
That
fourth.
misses off the outside edge.
Hits one to right. Third base hit for the Phillies. Rollins has his first. And the Phillies with a man on with 2
Swing and a
outs.
miss,
And
strike 1.
Brewers bullpen will get busy again. Maddox perhaps just out buying some time here.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's probably going to tell him that this runner's going to steal, not to
Right into the
keep
plate.
carried away and keep him
So now
close.
1-2.
Pitches affect the hitter. You got to get this next hitter out, and it's very important.
Right-handed reliever.
This is what the Phillies do to you. They make
Foul
it very
ball
difficult
there.
as a pitcher when you have 2 outs. Team's harmless. They steal a base.
Pitch.
They sit and
Swings and misses.
Carlos Villanueva loosening for the Brewers.
Well, they've had a great plan of attack.
The Phillies did all their damage
in
the third inning with 2 outs.
Just frustrating.
Utley's 2 RBI
Struck out a
double.
guy 3 times in the game. I think that guy's going to go back and really study some
in the
field.
third
He's going to
inning.
figure out how they're
Nearing the
beating
end
him
of
and make
his
this adjustment really quick because word will get around the
And
league.
she's not on this roster. Nor
Slowly on the ground to short.
first season last year, the Brewers advanced beyond this
Fires
round.
across the diamond.
That's
2
when
up,
said
2
before the
down.
game that he was done in 2008.
2 outs,
And
base
she's
empty. Next for
a
the
turn
Padres,
motion in his
Justin
elbow.
Williams.
It was
In for
expected
strike
that
1.
Ben Sheets and CC Sabathia were going to be one of the great 1-2 postseason punches in baseball.
Here comes the
Instead, it's
pitch.
Sabathia
Late with a swing there.
Out of the rehab room in Giovanni Gallardo after 4 months rehabbing a torn ACL.
And a pitch.
One of those guys in back of the
And that
rotation
just
have to step
misses.
up. Doesn't matter what they did in the regular season, whether it's playing, they have to step up and provide some, big games in this short series. And if they go ahead and go on, then they really need to step up in the best of 7.
Way inside, and that hit him. He had him 1-2, and he ends up hitting him with a pitch.
That's one of those low down pitches. As soon as it leaves the pitcher's hand, he starts racing for impact, knowing that it's going to be hard to get out of the way of that one.
Quinn in the box now. No balls and a strike.
The MLB Division Series is upstairs. Presented by Blackberry. Connect to everything you love in life with Blackberry. And brought to you in part by Applebee's. It's a whole new
Williams, the runner at first with 2 gone. Swing and a miss, and he got him.
Back at Children's Bank Park in Philadelphia, the Phillies lead the Brewers in Game 1 of this NLDS 3-0. All 3 runs coming in the 3rd inning, and all coming with 2 outs. 3 unearned runs against Gallardo. His bench fielder leads off his 5th inning. Hamels has retired 12 straight to start this game.
That's what I talked about earlier. 3 outs is hard to get. I mean, it really is in a playoff game because something happens, a hiccup here or there, and then you open up the door to some runs, and you're pressing more than you want to. So, when you can get those 1, 2, 3 innings, and it's a big thing in the playoffs.
He said something at his first at bat when Hamels did a good job of riding the ball up and in on the fielder that would come back into play later in the ballgame, and already this at bat. Couple of good breaking balls instead of the fastballs.
As a pitcher, you got to play a game with the best hitters. You got to guess a little bit. The luxury of the 3-run lead and not trying to do things differently because you're thinking about later situations when you know it's going to happen. It's going to be right. He's going to be up the plate. You don't want that showing that how you're going to if that luxury to so far, obviously, 3-0 lead. He's doing whatever he wants at this point. So that later in the game, that matchup gives some luxury to pitch and dish. It doesn't always go that way. You walk out to the first pitch, and a game time. You hope to execute it, but if that opposing team makes you change it really quick, then it's going to be a battle for the pitcher.
How much pitchers enjoy
Well, right now, the Brewers are trying to get a base runner against Hamels. Curveball from Hamels. And interesting, in this ballpark, left field is the short porch. This is a home run hitting paradise, but the way the wind is blowing, and a fly ball to left will be knocked down.
Mechanics, but the thing that you can do consistently every single game is play great defense if you're talented in that way. And this is what this guy does.
2 up, 2 down.
Number 5. It's 13 straight for Hamels. Here's a perfect example. 3-0 lead. He's going to feed off the aggressiveness of the hitter. It probably would have been a walk. He threw a great off-speed pitch, which, Fritz looked good when he was seeing it, and consequently a strikeout. This is the luxury of a lead that a pitcher can have and not have to deal with, if he walked him now, rally starts.
I think what you said earlier is correct, too, from a hitter's perspective, John, is that it's hard to pick up from his hand what the pitch is. Everything comes out of his hand exactly the same way. And even on our pitch tracks, when we're showing the location of those pitches when they cross the strike zone, they're kind of nipping the bottom line there. They're hitting a low outside corner. His command with that pitch today is awesome.
And there's not a hitter in the game that wants to get caught looking with a fastball. Most hitters do not come off fastball. And in this situation, with the ability for a hitter to drive the ball out of the park, they're always looking fastball. And as you said, Joe, that pitch looks fastball to the last second, and then it drops out of the zone, and the next thing you know, they're swinging.
They're getting Hardy out in front of that one. Sorry, Brian. They're going to have to start making some adjustments so early in the count, the Brewers. They're going to have to start looking for that off-speed stuff a little more because we're in the 5th inning, and there's nothing but 0 to get that.
That's a hard one. That's a low-end fastball for some guys.
And that's why I said in the 5th inning, you do a lot of change-ups, getting out the change-up. Later in the game, if we're approaching the 5th, 6th inning, you're going to see him get a lot out the fastball because hitters are going to start trying to sit on the change-up, which is hard to do in the second. The depth of his game.
To the bottom. And Hardy gets it. And the batter now, Gary Hampson. Meyer back to work. There's a strike.
2 up, 2 down here in the 5th.
Pitch.
Just a reminder, you can get
That one
exclusive
fouled
camera
off.
angles, behind-the-scenes info, and more online with TBS Hot Corner. Check it out now at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner. Hamels with 2 gone in the
0-2
fifth
now.
inning.
Cut on and missed. Struck him out. And that's the first out.
Just a mid-90s challenge fastball right there. Not much to it. And I'm sure he'd love another swing at it because it was in a very hittable location. Those are the swings where you can sometimes start to question yourself as a hitter and say, how did I miss that? But, you know, it happens.
Fletcher stands in now and watches strike one.
They can both play center field if their teams needed them to. Very versatile players and very similar.
They're both 2020 performers, 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. Corey Hart has done it twice. He's the first in franchise history to do it on 2 occasions.
Kicks and fires. And that one in the air center field. Robert has a beat on it. And there's 2 down.
And there's the first base hit for the Milwaukee Brewers. Corey Hart snaps a streak of
Stepping in for
17
San Diego, Alejandro
with a
Kirk.
start of the run.
It's the only pitch
And that's in there for strike one.
he wanted to kill him. They tried to get the ball up. This
And the
ball's
pitch.
right down the middle. He stays
That
on it. The
one
reason he hit
foul
the right field, I believe, is he was leery of that changeup, trying to stay and wait as long as he could. He hits the right field, a harmless single, hopefully, for the Phillies. And then Cole gets back to demanding his own. It's the only pitch so far he's made. Obviously,
just
resulting in a
one
hit,
strike
but the
away.
location was not exactly
And
where
a
he was.
swing and a miss.
And Joe maybe
And
a
that
change
is
of
the
the
ball
approach for the
game.
Well, I'm not
Brewers.
sure if he expected to get 9 outs in this one.
15
But
weeks.
he had the gas in the
The
tank to
first
get
one
it
away.
done.
He definitely waited, as John said. That ball
Today,
traveled. He
but
let it travel.
helps the team get the win. As you can see, they're pretty happy about it. And
It wasn't his best fastball. It was about 88, and that allowed him to make an adjustment on it, too. So what a start for Hamels so far.
Last year, Hamels in the division series against the Rockies took the loss. Went 6 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs. Colorado coming in here, winning the first 2 games, then sweeping the Phillies. And for Charlie Manuel in Philadelphia, the postseason was over about as fast as it started.
It was a stunner, to be sure, and the Rockies pitchers dominated that series.
Look for this 0-2 pitch to be a little bit different than the previous one. I'm going to say down and away, something off speed.
Down and away and a changeup, and Weeks didn't chase. That either means you have a great eye or you were completely fooled.
Great eye.
He's gotten a lot of swings and misses on that exact pitch. See what he has in mind at 1-2. And he's got 6 strikeouts for Hamels. Nothing. The Phillies lead the Brewers. Goal number 1 accomplished for Philadelphia. They have chased the starter, and they are now into the Brewer bullpen. DHL presents the MLB Delivery Man. Today we focus on Nick Stetter, the new Brewer hurler.
Well, what you're going to see is a September call-up. He's known what his lefties, crafty, funky lefty throws down under. He's going to be facing these 2 lefties probably, not lasting much longer than that, but he has some control issues, so we're going to see how he fares in this first postseason. I'm assuming that these 2 lefties will see some nasty down under.
Well, fans, you can go to MLB.com to cast your vote for the 2008 DHL Presents MLB Delivery Man of the Year. So the Phillies get to the Brewer pen. Stetter to face Utley and Ryan Howard, the 2 lefties set to lead off this 5th inning.
Brewers have 3 left-handers in their bullpen, with Manny Parra going down there to go with Stetter and Brian Schauss. Stetter's a big guy, 6'4", 215, and throws from the first base side of the rubber. So for Utley and Howard, it's going to look like it's coming from Ricky Weeks at second base.
I think this is going to be an important part of the Brewers club in this series. If it goes 5 or if it goes 4, how they can handle these 2 tough left-handed hitters in the pinch. Because I'm pretty sure they're going to face these guys with runners on if the situation calls for it. And they got back-to-back lefties to limit that punch and power that they provide.
Now the Brewers choosing to carry 12 pitchers on their postseason roster. Phillies with 11. That gives them an extra man in that bullpen, an extra lefty. Insteader is that extra lefty. And especially when you have a guy like CC Sabathia set to pitch tomorrow, he's a guy who could certainly finish a game and be a bullpen saver. Sabathia will go in game 2, and he'll be pitching for the 4th time on 3 days rest. And off the end of the bat, a little cue shot. Bill Hall takes care of Utley. And one gone, and here comes Ryan Howard. What a season he has had. What a September Ryan Howard has had. Trying to make it 3 straight MVPs here in Philadelphia. He single-handedly willed this team into the postseason with what he did in September. Rivaled only by a couple of people in Major League history in what he did. And he actually, down the stretch, John, hit lefties a little better. He hit 224 for the year, but in September, I mean, it was his month.
He sure did. His contact average is ridiculous when he does make contact. And pitchers like this should give him a little bit of a fit, but he stays on the ball so well, as we've seen so many home runs that look like he swung late and he's deposited over the left field wall. The key to Ryan Howard this postseason for me is, can he stay patient? Because he's not going to get a lot of pitches to hit.
And he sure didn't expect to get one on the inside part of the plate there from Stutter. Got to go in and out on him, though, don't you?
Well, I don't see enough pitchers trying to pitch him in.
Up and in especially.
Yeah, he looks inviting to pitch the ball away, and then the next thing you know, he's covered that pitch and hit it hard. They've got the shift on. Everyone knows he's a pull hitter, but they don't at least seem to go in enough to create a little more space on the outside.
Well, Howard played in all but one game this year. The home run champion in the National League with 48. Led the league in RBIs as well. Howard drove in 146 runs this season.
And that was after a miserable start. He was hitting in the 170s in April.
Well, after August 27th, Howard hit .395 with 6 homers and 17 RBIs against left-handed pitching. He put up big numbers.
You can see right there, that pitch right there is not supposed to be reached, and he spoils it. It's a real good pitcher by the pitcher. And these are the things that are keeping him at MVP status, because now he'll get a pitch, or he might get a pitch that's a mistake and crush it. That's what's happened most of the year. So pitchers have to make their pitches count against him and get him to chase as much as possible.
Well, Howard has worked the count full. Howard drove in 84 runs post-All-Star break. He was the league leader in home runs and RBIs at the All-Star break and did not make the All-Star team. Stenner gets him to swing and miss at a sweeping curveball for out number 2.
Finally got one out there he couldn't reach.
Way out there.
And down, too.
And again, that's going to be part of the deal with Ryan Howard. 3-2. Patient. Would have got another walk. It's going to be big for the Phillies to have him do that and create that pressure for the other pitcher.
Well, from Ed Stenner, it'll be 2 batters. He gets Utley and Howard, and he'll be taking out. A double switch coming up for Dale Swain. So Stenner, a September call-up, comes on, gets 2 key hitters to start this 5th inning. We'll set up the new pitcher and the double switch when we continue. Stay with us.
Hi there, everyone. Welcome to this special postseason edition of Inside the Show.
3-0 Phillies, 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Pat Burrow is coming up. That's a change for the Brewers, but now it's time for moments that change the game. Brought to you by Viagra. And in Game 7 of the 91 NLCS, John Smoltz threw a 4-0 complete game shutout against the Pirates, giving the Braves their first ever NL pennant. 91 Braves were the first team in Major League history to make the playoffs the year after having the worst record in the majors. And now the 2008 Rays are the second team to do so. For more moments to change the game, log on to si.com/moments.
Let me tell you something. That catcher was heavy, too. My good friend Greg Olson was heavy, but I didn't mind.
To carry the Braves, you can carry the catcher.
17 years ago.
Wow. Greg Counsell, who has had some of his greatest moments in the postseason and in the World Series. He's in on a double switch at second base. And the new pitcher is Carlos Villanueva.
What you're going to see out of him is upper 80s, used to be a starter, relies on the changeup. He's going to be another one of those pitchers that tries to mix and match with the hitter, get them thinking fast, slow, and prey off of their aggressiveness. And he can eat up some innings.
2 outs for Pat Burrell. Nick Stetter out of the Brewers bullpen. Retired Utley and Howard. And now Villanueva looking to get Milwaukee to the dugout. Brewers have 1 hit off Cole Hamels, who has faced just 1 over the minimum and struck out 6. Burrell lines one to left.